Hello everyone, good afternoon. Thank you for everyone for attending this session. My name is David Santos. I'm a systems engineer in Brazil. I take care of network and security in Brazil. And if you guys are attending this session, it's because you guys want to know, like me in the beginning, how can we deploy micro-segmentation in the easy way, or at least find a way to start. So, the idea of this session is how can we begin from this side and arrive in the other side? Like, how can we change our architecture from a centralized firewall for a distributed firewall? This guy is another engineer down in South America, and he had this doubt too when he started. So he was like trying to find a way out here. So the best way to start is to check or to find what's running in your infrastructure. So visibility is the key. You need to discover what applications do you have, what infrastructures do you have, what virtual machines do you have in your environment. A crucial tool to begin this journey is called vRNI. For this one that don't know what's vRNI, it stands for vRealized Networking Site, and this tool is critical for us to make this change or to deploy micro-segmentation. In this session, we will explore vRNI and also how can you use it as a best practice to deploy our firewall rules. Okay, sorry. This tool is like a visibility tool and troubleshoot tool, and it also helps us to planning our micro-segmentation. We can deploy this tool as a non-intrusive tool, and it will collect flows and information of our environment. It will do analysis of the traffic, and here we can find like what's the east-west traffic, the north-south traffic, also the traffic that's switched, which traffic is routed. It will also help us to map the applications. It will discover the virtual machines, the interconnection between them, and also the ports that are used to make this communication. After this analysis, it will help us suggesting the firewall rules that you need to deploy a zero trust architecture in our environment. It will suggest the firewall rules that you need, and it will also make analysis to check which rules are masked, or you will check the rules that you have that have overlapped with the other rules. The building block of these rules is what we call security group. A security group is something that helps you to create the firewall, your security policy. A security group you can include almost anything in a security group. A security group can contain VMs based on their names, on the operational system, and the port groups that they are connected, or something that's really cool called security tag. A security tag is a metadata, and you can attach that security tag to any virtual machine. The idea is to abstract the IP address. Instead of using something like 10.1.1.11 and 20.2.2.12, you'll have like security group web and security group app. The idea of a security group is to have like a dynamically include VMs into that. So here you have like a security group web that will have any virtual machine that has the web security tag. And you also exclude anything dynamically. Like here you have a security group dev that has every VM that has the tag dev. And if that VM loses his tag, that security group will be updated to remove the information from that VM. it will also remove any information of that VM if it is excluded. So the rules that belongs to that security group will not be applied to that VM anymore. So taking a look with a security group, where should I start? In VRNI, we have something pretty cool called VRNI application. Here you can build your application, and your application will have tiers, and for the purpose of this demo, for this session, each tier will be a security group. So you have here the web tier. It will be like you become our 3-tier security group, as our security group tier web. And you have our application tier that will become the 3-tier app security group. And you have the 3-tier database that will become the security group, the database security group. We will also make the interconnection between those security groups and applications. We have the connection from the external network using HTTPS for the 3-tier web. We also have the communication between web and app using TCP port 9000, and MySQL communication between app and database. We will also have catch-all rule. We have here a security group that will contain the other security group nested, and here we will configure out the full rule for that application. Allow or deny anything that doesn't match the other rules. For best practice, I always start that rule with allow and log. So anything that doesn't match the follow rules, I can look at the logs and then make the necessary changes for my application. Now I'm gonna make a quick demo here, looking how can we do that. As it is a video, it will work. For those, yes, for those that doesn't know VRNI, that's what the dashboard looks like. This is the plant security dashboard. Here on the left, we have something called entities, and here we can look what we have and also look at the applications. At this time, we don't have any application created, and we are going to create the first one. We call our application 3-tier, and we will also configure the tiers that will be inside that application. We start with web, and here we configure the membership criteria of that tier. We can select here a VM based in their name, or an IP address, or a VXLAN, or security group, and a lot of things here. For this demo, I will do something like custom VM search, and I will create like a regular expression to match a membership criteria that I want for this application. I will start with the port that application uses, that's HTTP port 80. And here I can check which VMs match that regular expression. In this demo, it will match 4 VMs. Even our center is matching that, but we don't know that. We don't want that. We want only the VMs that belongs to that application. So we are going to refine that rule a little bit more using the VMs that has port 80 active and also are connected to LS Web, our logical switch that is serving network to that VMs, to that application. Here I created a Boolean rule, and I will check what is matching. Now I can see that I have a web tier that has communication from external network and also communicates with something else inside my data center. That's my app tier. It will communicate with the app01 VM at port 9000. Now I will add another tier to my application using that information that I just discovered. I'll create now another regular expression using incoming port 9000 and VXLAN LS app. We'll check now that you have the app 01 VM here. Now I will add another tier, that's the database tier. And I'll create the same rule for database using now MySQL server, MySQL incoming port 3306 and LSDB as my VXLAN. After that, I can analyze the flows and check here my application. So you have the full communication of that application. If I click inside any of those arrows, I can check the incoming flows and the interdependence between them. And here I have the recommended firewall rules for each one of those tiers. That's the communication between web and app. That's the communication of app. Here I have the recommended firewall rules for app, the app tier. And lastly, we have the firewall rules recommended for the DB tier. Is the service of our DB tier, the external service access for that tier, and the recommended firewall rules. After create that application, we will now begin to deploy the firewall rules. So the first thing that we will do now is the rules exporting. So going back to this screen, we're gonna click here in this menu and export rules. We are gonna export all the rules that you just see for that application. We are gonna create a DFW session in NSX for that application and set the last rule as allow any and log. Here in NSX, we're gonna create our firewall section. Create a rule for that session. And configure the allow log. This log you can check later in Log Insight to see what will happen. We're going to apply that default rule only to the logical suites that you have our VMs of that application. Now we are going to import that rule. Here we are using a tool called NSX Importer. So this tool is a PSO tool that you have, but you guys, if you want, you guys can have this tool too. It will import that exported firewall rules into NSX automatically. It will import the firewall rules, the security group, the security tags, and as is an XML file, we can also make changes to that if you want. Here you have our firewall rules. our security tags. This tool is a JavaScript-based tool. So here we are gonna run this tool, selecting the NSX manager IP address, the section, username and password, and it will deploy all that rules into NSX. The only thing that the tool doesn't do is the mapping between the security group and the VM. All the rest is imported into NSX. We also can remove security groups and firewall rules from that folder that you just saw to select what will be imported into NSX. Now we're gonna make the VM to security group mapping. We see here that we have a security group others, and we also have a security group web. For the purpose of this demo, I already made some mapping, like the security group web, the VMs already have the security tag mapping, and the security group app and security group DB2. We can see here the security tag already applied to that VM. And that VM already belongs to the security group. The same thing for DB and app. Now we are gonna add something new to existing security group. We are gonna make changes in the security group others web and DC virtual. In the external internet, we are gonna add our local network as membership of the security group, because it's where I'm doing tests in this application. Here I'm gonna add an IP set. An IP set is like an IP address or a subnet that you can add as an object into a security group. We will also add a VM to DC virtual. In this case, is a DNS, my DNS VM. I will add to that security group. And automatically, the firewall rules, the existing firewall rules using those security groups will apply the necessary policy change, security policy. You can see here the VMs in each security group. And in the last part now, we are gonna monitor what is happening and make the last adjustments. We're gonna generate some traffic here to the VMs, like SSH traffic and ping, and check what's happening in the firewall rules, look at the login site, and make the necessary changes. Here I'm doing an SSH to the web tier. I generate two connections here. And after generate this traffic, I go to login site. I will log into login site. By the way, everyone that has NSX can use login site for NSX and for vSphere. Here you can see the firewall dashboard in login site, and we can select which ports are matching our firewall rules. Here we can see that the traffic that we just generated is this log here, the communication between my station and that VM. Now we are going to change our forward rules. We will add SSH to the first rule. And after that, we are going to change the last rule to block. So now we have the full application running micro-segmentation. Here I put the service in the wrong rule. Now I'm going to add the right server to the right rule, allowing SSH. And change the last rule to block or reject. We have two defaults here. We have the default for the session, and we have the default for the whole NSX. This for the session, it was open, and then we close it after refining the rules. Now we're going to make some tests using ping. And you can check that the ping is not allowed. And that's it. We just made this whole application and change the last rule here to block the unwanted traffic. For the ones that want to try VRNI, there is a hands-on lab. The last year hands-on lab was the 182901 net. This year probably will be 1929 something. And it's also possible to download that at vmware.com. So you can go to this website, vmware.com/go/vna-field, and you can download VRNI to deploy in your environment. The only thing that is needed to that to work is VDS, only the distributed switch. You don't need NSX to run VRNI. You can deploy VRNI before NSX, during the NSX installation, and use VRNI to refine your rules after an NSX installation too. Questions? No? So? Yeah. No, they were in 3 different subnets. But it could be in the same layer. No problem. You can do micro-segmentation in layer 2. It will also be possible. More questions? No? Okay. Thank you, guys.